to set up video, etc. Can everyone on Facebook hear me, see me, cares about me? Help. Stream health. Right, I'm not quite sure how to see Facebook. Alex, if you are around, I'm trying to find the phone. Alex, if you are around, tell me that you care. That was deep. Where's the phone gone? Oh, well, this is going to be stressful. Is it behind there? No, it's not. Well, we're just going to start. Ah, I see. It's over to the left. Glorious. Right, we are just going to start. Thanks, Layla. I always like the nice people who kind of confirm that I'm not just talking to two versions of myself. Just so everyone knows, this over here is where I've got my Instagram, and over here is where I've got my Facebook. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a switcheroo thing. Let me know if that's disturbing. Beautiful. So, hello Ben, how are you? This is nice, I like this. Okay, so firstly, thanks to the King's Head for inviting me on here. I'm currently in Germany. I work in Germany. It is 2 p.m. my time, and I'm on day 49 of official quarantine. We don't know when that's going to end yet, but you know, safe to say, I know this room very, very, very well by now. The way that this is going to work, usually when I do these kind of sessions, I quite like it to be a conversational atmosphere. I'm not really the lectury type. Obviously, with this setup, this can be quite hard. So if you do want to chat, just please, please, please comment. Please ask questions. I will interact. I will potentially derail my entire plan in order to answer your question. Who knows? So the way that I'm going to work is I'm going to give you all guys a little bit about me, a little bit about my background, a little bit about my connection to the King's Head. Not too long, because I'm not really here to talk about me. And then I'm going to dive into some of the questions about German theatre that I get a lot, including the kind of the structure of it, the kind of the funding situation of it. And then I'm going to go into the theatre that I work for, which is not in Berlin. There are other theatres in Germany outside Berlin, and just kind of run through the normal production lifespan. And by doing so, I will explain my job. I am a Regie Assistant, which roughly translates as assistant to the directing. I'm not a Regisseur Assistant, I'm not an assistant director. I am assistanting the directing. I think the best way of putting that is staff director in Germany. So, does everyone kind of get that? If I talk too quickly, please let me know. It has been known. So, I'm Helena. I grew up in Germany, so I speak German. And I went into directing, well, I started trying to direct basically when I was 16, where I set up a theatre company with some of my mates from a sixth form college. And we just did like musicals and things when we, like in summer holidays and stuff, when everyone was bored. I then went to uni, and then after uni came to London and joined the King's Head Theatre's trainee director scheme. This was in 2016, I think. Hi, Elsveen, hello. This was in 2016, I think, 2016 to 17. And there I did a lot of assisting work, mainly on their opera productions, because I was a musician, kind of still am, but debatable. I used to play the violin, and as such I had kind of an understanding of music, and I was really interested in the King's Head's experimental opera scene, because being a musician, you do tend to work in a lot of operatic kind of operetta scenarios, and I just really disliked them because I never saw something that I thought was exciting and I thought I wanted to do, and the King's Head kind of allowed me into that world. So I assistant directed a couple of shows at the King's Head, and then directed a version of La Traviata, which was an Offie finalist for Best Opera Production in 2017, 2018. Years, time, what is time? And then basically freelanced in London for 2 or 3 years, which was really, really hard. That, as I'm sure theatre people No, freelancing is really, really hard. Yeah, that was tough. Fun, really, really good fun, but really tough. And I became a bomb at writing funding applications. Then I kind of, once Brexit was kind of rolling into being a thing, I decided that it was time for me to have a little look outside of the English scene. And so I went to Germany and got a hospitanz here in theatre in the city that I lived in when I was little, which is like a 3-month just like observership internship. And I was really lucky because one of the staff directors was retiring that year, and I was just there. And that's really unhelpful for whoever wants to know how to get into German theatre. It's like most things in life, you just kind of have to be in the right place at the right time. So yeah, really privileged to have got that job and to be here now. So that's kind of how I got into German theatre. German theatre is different. I'm going to start with like the model, so the rep model and how we do our theatre. And then if you guys want, I can do like a backgroundy thing of funding and setup and all of that. Please do let me know if that is something that you would be interested in. I need affirmative something or other, so I don't just go on a wild one. So it's rep model. Rep model means that you have a company of either singers, actors, dancers, or musicians. We have all four. We're a four kind of a vierspartiger house. We have four like Sparten is like branches. We've got 4 branches, and each branch has like a core group of musicians or singers or just artists that make up the ensemble. So I work in the music theatre branch, where we have a core ensemble of around 13 to 14 singers of all different voice types, ages, shapes, everything. But we get kind of guests in. Every one time we have about 10 shows that we know how to do and we can show. The thing about my house is that we're in a 2-house system. It's kind of like Southampton, where you have 2 venues, but one company that runs both of them. So we have a theatre in Krefeld and a theatre in Mönchengladbach, which English people find really hard to pronounce. They go Mönchengladbach. So fair. So we are Theater Krefeld Mönchengladbach. And so we have a company that kind of runs over all of them. Each house has 3 to 4 stages, and we sometimes outsource productions. So at every one time, there are 8 productions that we are running and 2 that we are rehearsing. I'm not going to go into the rehearsal period of the productions yet, because I'm going to come to that later. Basically, what it means is, for example, Monday I might have free. I'm sorry, that's a lie. I never have Monday free. Monday I might be rehearsing. So I'm rehearsing Monday to Saturday, 10 to 12 in the morning and 6 to 10 in the evening. Sometimes evenings I have performances of shows that I have rehearsed in the past. These usually happen about once or twice per week, but it's incredibly, incredibly normal in Germany for you to have a premiere, so a press night, one night, then you have to have a day off after the premiere, then about 3 days later you do the show again, and then it just kind of goes to bed for a month. And then after a month, you come back in and you go on stage. Well, I don't go on stage, but you know what I mean? And you do it again, which is hard work for the singers. It's hard work for the actors. It's hard work for the DSM. It's hard work for everyone. But what it does mean is that in a month, you get a really good mixture of different operas, different musicals, different plays, different dance things, different concerts that kind of all mesh together in a wonderfully wonderful but slightly chaotic system. So that's obviously completely different to how we could do things in England, where we rehearse something, we put it on for 4 weeks, and then it kind of stops until unless we transfer it somewhere else. Whereas in Germany, you can just keep the same show going over and over and over again. Also, what good thing is it means that these ensemble people are full time. They have their schedules, they have their jobs. We are categorically not allowed to ask them to rehearsals or performances between 2 and 6 in the afternoon. That is their kind of time off. Right, it's 10 past. Has anyone got any questions after I've fumbled for a bit? Let's go and have a look. I've been talking for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. If anyone's interested, no, great, I'm just going to keep going. So that's the way the kind of the show schedule works. The system in Germany is very different because everything is, well, a lot of things are funded by the state. I don't want to say quite how much my theatre is funded because I don't know, people might be watching from Germany, might not be allowed to say it, who knows, but it's well within the double figures millions because we have a 500 house, we have a 500 person theatre with 2 different venues. Gotta pay all them people. Yeah, we get a lot of money, which also means that we have a separate props department, assessment costume department, a separate lighting department. My main job is communicating between all of these different departments. So there's every branch of the theatre. You've got, just to recap for everyone that's just arrived, got 4 branches in my theatre that I work in Germany, which is music, music plus theatre, plain theatre, and dancing. Sometimes hard to, distinguish the music and the theatre ones, that's okay. The way that German theatre works is that designers and costume designers, set designers, and directors are mainly freelance. Oh, sorry, could you repeat what residency thing was called? Now, earlier was the King's Head trainee TRD, trainee resident director scheme. And at the moment, I'm the regie assistant at Theater Krefeld-Mönchengladbach in Nordrhein-Westfalen in Germany. Let me know if you want me to write out the German words. Alex Jackson has just asked, do you prefer working in Germany or the UK, or are there pros and cons to both? I'm going to work that question into kind of what I'm about to talk about, which is my job here. So the good thing here is I have a full-time job, which I prefer to being in England and being freelance, which is, as we all probably are all aware, is very stressful. My job at the moment is basically communicating between the freelancers that are hired in, say the directors, the set designers, the costume, and all the different departments of the theatre. So basically I'm stage management in the rehearsal room. There is no one else. We don't do stage management in Germany. Stage management is apparently just not a thing in Germany, which really stressed me out. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear here, but I am swearing. So I'm the one in the rehearsal room. I basically take the role of the DSM in the rehearsal room. For those of you that don't know what the DSM is, it's the person that basically writes down all of the movements of the actors and the singers in the book. I'm the person that basically writes down lists of what props are needed, what sets needed, the rehearsal times for tomorrow, I give up rehearsal calls, all of that stuff. And then it's my job to communicate those between all different departments downstairs, which are like props, costume, lighting, sound, etc. So the good thing is about that is that I like having a role in the rehearsal room. What I'm pretty sure lots of assistant directors know is that quite often you get into a rehearsal room and you sort of sit there and you sort of go, is my creative opinion needed? Am I more of a logistical side of things? Am I here to assist the director? Am I here to assist the production? What is my role? Good thing about Germany is you know what your role is. It's very clear. The bad thing about Germany is that you are not expected to have a very creative voice in discussion unless the director specifically asks you to. It's kind of like, it's basically like a DSM. Sometimes you have some director just really wants to involve everyone in the room. They ask the DSM gives their opinions, all of that stuff. Often it's just not my job to have a creative role in that. One moment, I'm going to quickly write some German in the chat. So I am the Regie Assistant of Theater Krefeld Mönchengladbach. Oh, I spelled that wrong. I spelled it wrong again. Jesus, what is today? Okay. So that's me in the rehearsal room. Then we go to... I lost my train of thought. This is what happens when you try and read comments and reply to comments and try and say things at the same time. Then we go to tech. Tech is also completely different because tech here... no worries. Tech here is... you come in, you do your setup, you do a little bit of dry tech, and then you just call the actors in and you just run through it with them. we don't do tech with singers, with actors, with anyone on stage. We have these things called Statisten, which are basically extras. And we get 2 of them. And what we'll probably do is we'll rehearse on stage in the morning with the set that's been built on the stage. Rehearse on stage in the morning, 10 till 2. The singers will go say bye-bye and go off to do whatever they do. And me, the director, and the inspicient, who is the person that calls the cues in the show, stay. And we do the lights. And we have 2 extras on stage that we say, can you go stage right? Can you then walk over stage left? And can you smile? And can you jump? And can you do this kind of stuff? So we can basically plot the lights without the singers being there, because they're contractually not allowed to be there because they will be working overtime. And those rules are very, very, very strong in German theatre. And then the singers come back for the rehearsal the next day, and we might run through scenes with them on stage. And then I will make notes about what lighting decisions or sound decisions didn't work, and we will come back in the afternoon sessions. Those days are killer. They're 14-hour days for me, easy. I work from about, hopefully get in half an hour early, so get in at 9:30 and leave at about 10:30 to 11 sometimes. So yeah, those 2 weeks are harsh. Then we do run-throughs with orchestra, which are called, I'm trying to translate them to English, like stage and piano, stage and orchestras, where the conductor's in charge. And then we go straight into run-throughs, which are called Generalproben, run-throughs. And we go to the dress rehearsal, and then we do opening night. We don't have previews, and it's stressful, very stressful. Yeah, so that's my role in tech. During the actual shows, I am what people in England would call the CSM. So I'm the person backstage that isn't really allowed to have cues or have a job because I'm there with crisis management. For example, we're doing a production of an opera called Rigoletto, and one day our main singer came and had a really, really bad cold. Bless him, he still went on stage, still did his best, but at the end you could tell it was actually hurting him. So backstage, I basically pulled a singer who knew the music of that show, put him in black, shoved him at the side of the stage, and kind of all while the piece was playing, shoved him to the side of the stage. This person on stage saw him, looked a little bit quizzical, and then basically he took over singing, and the person on stage just acted. And those are the kind of things that while I'm backstage, I organise. God, if a scene change goes wrong, my role is really important because we have these months in between shows. So someone might have played something on the, 3rd of April, and the next time they play something is on the 1st of May. And this is the same for the technical staff that are also in shifts. So we don't have the same technical staff every single show. You always need someone who knows exactly what is going on when. So, and that is my job, and that's why I do all the writing. And that's why the system means that I'm in the rehearsal and I follow the show through all the time. So I share responsibility with the intendant, who's the DSM, who sits and calls the show. Cool. And then we go on to transfers. So the way that my theatre works is that we have 2 houses, and we open a show in one house, it plays for a season, and then the next season we bring it over to the other house. And I'm basically, if the director isn't there, which sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, I'm in charge of doing that. So we recently brought over a 60-person opera with like ballets and dancers and falling down bits of scenery and all that stuff from one house to the other, and I'm the lead on that. So I do the calls, I do the schedules, I do the logistical things. Cool. So coming back full circle to Alex's question, I think the thing that I really like about Germany, which no one's going to be surprised about, is just the security that you get here. And it's just, it's so hard to explain. When I was in England, when I was freelancing, there was always just an undercurrent of stress that I just didn't notice existed because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pay my rent in 2 months. I didn't know what my next project was going to be. I didn't know I was going to get funding for the project that was 5 months down the line, which would mean that I would be able to pay my rent for that month. It was just this kind of tightness that I just lived with. It was just normal, which I'm pretty sure most of you are living right now during Corona. When I came to Germany, that just went, because I had a house and I knew that I was going to be paid a certain amount, not a lot, but a certain amount each month, which is, it's so relieving. Yeah, it's just so relaxing, and that's what I prefer about German theatre. In terms of the artistic part of German theatre, so I realise that a lot of English people run kind of via Berlin theatre. Like the Schaubühne has got a lot of Twitter stuff over Corona. Some people, if they're really, going out there, go to the Münchner Kammerspiele as well. Some people might even go to Deutsches Theater, but their kind of idea of theatre is very much stuck in Berlin, which is, a mirror image, who knew? It's stuck in Berlin, Facebook, I'm on the other side, and München, Munich. I work in Mönchengladbach, which you might know if you know football, Borussia Mönchengladbach, which is near Düsseldorf. And we do experimental stuff here, some more experimental stuff. But I think the English view of German theatre is so many rose-coloured glasses. Obviously, Berlin does some wonderful things, and München does as well. And I think the views of German about theatre are very different, so they accept certain things more. But we still have the things that English theatres do as well, because I mean we still have to sell tickets, so we just we combine experimental, we combine commercial, we combine big musicals. Germany is also going through, not as big as a financial black hole as England at the moment, but it's still having some issues, and commercial theatre and selling tickets to commercial theatre is just the way to do that, and you can have some really good commercial theatre. I'm just going to do a question time for everyone that's new. We'll just kind of appeared. Hi, I'm Helena. I'm a staff director in Germany at Theater Krefeld Mönchengladbach in Neue Rhine-Westfalen, basically like Düsseldorf area. If you have any questions, I'm now just going to be kind of yapping on about German theatre as a whole rather than my kind of role and the differences that I've seen. I would really appreciate some questions at this point. That would be lovely, because it means that I kind of know what you guys are interested in and I can tailor, because I've only got 7 minutes left, 8 minutes left. Oh no, I've just realised my alarm is going to go off at 25 past and I've lost my phone. So excuse me if I just have to leave for 30 seconds then. So, German theatre. I would say that German theatre is much more about ideas and abstract ideas, much more comfortable with that than English theatre. And not an expert, I think I would suggest that this is down to two things. One is the German language is very, very comfortable with abstract ideas. I'm just going to take comedy as an example. In England, comedy and comedy sets do have a lot of linguistic trickery in them. You can basically cover up the punchline of a joke and set it at the end and relieve the tension. You can do that really well in English. You can do puns. English is a gorgeous language because you can just get all messy with it. German language is not like that. German language is, if English language is like, one of those blow up people that kind of do this and do that and do that, like outside of gas stations, that's English language. German language is a house. It's built up of bricks and has to stand. Oh, interesting question from Jack Silver, and I'm also just going to turn my alarm off. Good, that is on that phone, and I think my work phone has not gone off. So, and I'm just going to finish my point quickly, Jack, and then I'll come back to you. So with German language, the way that you get crunchy with it is you set things in opposite. You set kind of contrast. You set ideas against each other, which is like German jokes are a really good example of this. For example, there's one which is a man jumps out of an airplane. 3,000 meters, pulls in his cord, parachute doesn't work, stress, stress, stress. 2,000 meters, pulls in his backup parachute, doesn't work, stress, stress, stress. 1,000 meters, he bumps into a man with overalls and a spanner. And the parachutist says, "Oh God, can you fix my parachute?" And the man says, "Sorry, mate, I only do boilers." Which I think is a great joke because it's abstract. Because it's I didn't tell it very well, I'm not a comedian, but hopefully that kind of illustrates my point about language. In the UK, theatres are big gatekeepers. Is this situation better or worse in Germany? Also, how much are star names a thing in Germany? Star names definitely exist, but not the way they do in England, because in England, the actors freelance and they tour around projects. In Germany, you have ensembles where people will come to see their favorite actor or actress again and again and again and again. And they can because they will always be in the same house. So yes, they are a draw. There are also obviously freelance singers and actors that do really well, but they are far, far, far less common than in England. And also things tend to happen the other way around. You tend to start in theatre in Germany and then go into film, which I'm not sure what kind of effect that has on star names, but it just means that it feels a little bit more organic that way. Theatres are big gatekeepers. Yes, very, very, very true. In Germany as well. We have the same issues of wanting to appeal to the audience. We have the same issues of intendants, artistic directors imposing their vision upon the houses, which is fine, which is, I know some houses that are wonderful at mixing things up. I know some houses that are wonderful at getting new ideas in, but it kind of depends on the audience. The one thing that theatres can do is they can most German theatres can afford to have flops in a season, flops, or basically give that time. Oh, you've gone a little bit weird. Or just give that time to productions that are slightly more experimental, because there is also a big desire for that because of the cultural history of Germany. Culture was basically cut down by so many different areas of history. Like, I mean, if you compare Weimar, say the Second World War, Weimar was like cabaret, really experimental. Nazis had a big go at culture. In the Cold War, German culture had a big kind of fluctuation. Basically just means that Germans have a big sense of cultural capital. So Germans, politicians used to meet in theatres about not anymore, about like 10 years ago, and be seen at the theatre, be seen that they are intaking culture, and that they are therefore worth your vote. It's how you attach value to a person. It used to be, changing a little bit now. But it just means that people are willing to go and see artsy things for them to be artsy and for them to be seen to be artsy, because the class system doesn't quite exist in the way it does here and the way it does in England. And yeah, so Jack, I'm not sure I necessarily answered your question there, but I'm trying to think anything else I can say about gatekeepers. Oh, I've only got a couple of minutes left. Let's not. I'm just going to go and run through other questions. Do you know anything about working in other European countries? I don't. I've worked a little bit in France, but that was a German piece that went over, and England. I assume it is a similar rep model, but I don't know about the intricacies of the kind of hierarchies and stuff. Christian Graham, hello. Can you speak a little about how important the director, dramaturg, writer relationship is there versus UK? New writing is not all, new writing in Germany is really hard, harder than England. We don't have those little theatres where you can put something on and just for like little money. You have to know things in the theatre. Nepotism, I would say, is worse here than in England. So the director-writer relationship is very, if you're lucky enough to be directing a piece of new writing, you get that writer in that room. It's because Germans are so used to playing with old text and so used to putting abstract ideas in old text, actually having writers there is one of the most exciting things that they can imagine, because it doesn't exist, because I don't even know how you try and climb that tree. I really don't know. Dramaturgs are a very different thing in Germany. We have them. They have Dramaturgen, and they kind of they work to support the director. They work in the background. They work in kind of in researching the piece. They help in programming. We've got someone called Dramaturg at our theatre who is one of the basically artistic team, the big artistic team, and she supports the lead of musical theatre. She writes these packs for us in rehearsals. She's basically a can do all. So I would say dramaturg is just, it's not the same role. Whenever you're creating something new in Germany, you are doing something very special, because it just does not happen at all. So I would say the best way of doing that is doing a kind of, there was this thing I think Kandinsky did this year, or last year, where they did a show of theirs in Berlin. You have to do that. Nepotism is unreal here, unreal. Good. We we have 30 seconds left. I nattered on for a long time. I want to say thank you for KHT for inviting me here. I love King's Head. They are wonderful. They help me start my career. They help me whenever I have problems. Obviously, Corona, hard time for them. If you have got a penny or two or maybe three, please consider throwing it their way. We want them to still be here when they're back. Do some shout outs. I want to shout out to Ben Anderson, who was watching me. Welcome. I want to shout out to Ben Anderson, who was watching me, to Eloise, to all the Alexes, to all of the TRDs at the King's Head, past, present, and hopefully future. Miss you guys a lot. We're like a family. And shout out to the office as well. Shout out to Adam and Fiona and just the King's Head team. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys living through Corona, sending all the love. Yeah, hopefully see you back in England in the street sometime soon. Okay, bye guys. How do I say goodbye here? End. Bye. Cancel. End. End video. End live video.